Hey everyone, so this is just going to be a really quick tutorial showing how I would do the few steps to get you ready for going to school or college. You know, when you don't have much time in the morning and you're really just rushing out the door and you want to get a few bits on to make yourself look not so knackered but at the same time not too overdone. So I hope this is helpful and watch on for the tutorial. Okay, so starting off with the skin, try and use multi-use products. So instead of putting on layer upon layer upon layer, which you don't have time for in the morning really when you're like rolling out of bed and trying to rush out the door as quick as possible to catch your bus or whatever, use something moisturising that has an SPF in it, and maybe even something that could double up as a primer as well. So for me that would be something like maybe my Vichy sunblock here, which is a sunblock for combination to oily skin. So in that way it primes my skin in that it takes away shine and it helps keep me matte throughout the day, but it also would hydrate my face as well. Or you could use something if you're a little bit drier, just like this is what I've on today. It's the Clinique Even Better Skin Tone Correcting Moisturiser with SPF 20, so it's just a nice rich moisturiser with an SPF in it. You just want something like that that'll do everything in one for you. So then obviously next you want to go and even out your skin tone. Now I'm a firm believer in not using foundation before it's necessary. I see a load of young girls coming into counter and into shops in town and looking for a foundation when they have absolutely immaculate skin and they just feel like they have to wear it because they want to, because they're friends or whatever. There's so no need for it unless you are at a stage where you feel like you need to even out your skin tone. So definitely skip that. Maybe have a little bit of concealer if you need it instead. Concealer around your eyes, yeah, if you need it, but don't go for foundation unless you really need it. Some ones that I think that are great would be like tinted moisture type ones, or some of these BB creams that are out now. So like this Maybelline Fresh BB cream, I think this is really nice for evening out skin tone. Now this will work as your moisturiser and your SPF, and obviously kind of like a foundation as well. So this is a really great on the go quick product. So this is the Maybelline Fresh Dream BB 8-in-1 BB cream, SPF 30. I would find I might need a little bit of concealer over it, but that's only if I have blemishes or whatever. And I'm happy to put this under the eyes to use it as my under eye concealer as well, because it is quite moisturising. So this is something really handy to have. For someone who's a little bit more on the oily side, you could use something like this, which is the Garnier BB Cream Miracle Skin Perfector, and this is for combination to oily skin. This also has an SPF of 20 in it, I think. So again, it's just something that you can use for your moisturiser, your SPF and your foundation all in one, and it's just really handy. And then another one I've been trying out, which would be more for maybe normal to dry skins, would be this Blemish Balm by Sleek, the Be Beautiful Blemish Balm, and this is an SPF of 15. Again, this one is a bit thicker, so it will act as your concealer as well, and you can use it underneath your eyes. So all of these three things are really handy. But for me, what I like to use, because I find that I do need to set my makeup for it to last throughout the day. So my favourite thing to use lately, if I am in a massive rush, would be to use my mineral makeup. So I have the Vichy Airtaunt Mineral here. I use the colour Opal, and this works as my foundation, my concealer all in one, because you just add on a little bit extras and any blemishes, unless I have anything particularly nasty on my face. But no, this is something you can put on really quickly, and you can touch it up really quickly throughout the day as well, because it's not going to be set over a liquid base, it's just powder on your face. Another mineral makeup I really like as well is the MAC one. This is their Mineralized Loose Foundation, and it's extra light is the colour I'd use, but it's just to show there are a good few different brands that do them. You can get plenty in the drugstore as well. When I am using that though, I will always start off and use a little bit of concealer around my eyes. There are so many good cheap concealers out nowadays. This Collection 2000 Illuminating Touch is great if you just want to brighten rather than conceal, or it has the Collection 2000 Lasting Finish Concealer, which is definitely a hardcore concealer, which is great for anyone with dark circles rather than just someone who needs a little bit of brightening. And I just pop that all over the eye area. I kind of put that on the actual lid as well, just quickly. So I'm using my Mineralized Concealer by MAC here. I just love it because it brightens as well as conceals. And I find that it moisturises also. So I tend to get a little bit dry throughout the day, especially if I've been wearing my makeup all day. So when applying the foundation, I just pop a little bit into the lid. You don't need too much, just enough. And then I like to use a small buffing brush, something like this, which is the MAC 130. You can get much cheaper ones like the Sigma Round Top Kabuki, which is only about, I don't know, like $14 on their website. There's loads of other buffing brushes like that available at the moment. And then I just pick up a little bit on the tip of the brush, tap off any excess, and just start pressing it all over the skin. And just press it in place and buff as I go along. So any areas where I find that I do need a little bit more coverage, I'll almost press it on first and then I can buff over that, so that helps really get it in place. This is such a good match for my skin as well that I find I don't need to worry about lines or anything like that. It just blends in perfectly with the rest of my face. And these mineral makeups do tend to have a brightening effect as well. One downside of that is that the bismuth oxychloride in them, which is in this one, the Vichy one, and it's also in like the Bare Minerals one and stuff like that, can be a slight irritant. I mean, it is natural, so that's why they get away with using them in mineral makeups, but it can be a little bit irritating. I find the sides of my nose can get a little bit scratchy throughout the day, but it's not enough that it really puts me off wearing it. I think the matte version of the Bare Minerals one doesn't have the bismuth, if that is an issue for you, but I kind of do like the sheen it gives it. You can see there, it's really evened me out and brightened up my complexion. I do find I have a little bit of spots coming through, so I just pick up some of the powder on my finger and literally just press it over the area with my finger, and that helps cover most of the redness. In college or school, I'd definitely be more concerned about not looking wrecked rather than about looking perfect, so I wouldn't spend too long going over every single little blemish and worrying about every little imperfection, because you want it to look natural rather than totally caked and overly done. And then I'm just going to add a little tiny bit of that mineral makeup just to my lids as well, to take away any redness on my eyelids. For eyeshadow, I wouldn't suggest using too much because eyeshadow can take that little bit extra. I would say maybe have a palette handy that has loads of colours in them, so you don't have to go looking for loads of different eyeshadows. This is the Urban Decay palette, the Naked one, and I'm just going to pick up the first colour, which is Virgin, and just pop a tiny bit in there. It's a highlight colour, so again this is about trying to make me look a little bit more awake, and pop a little bit underneath the brow bone as well. So that'll help brighten the eye area. And then I'm going to pick up a tiny bit of Sin next to it and just pop that just on the lid. So these are just real brightening ones. I don't want to wear anything too dark. And then I'm just going to go into Book, which is just like a medium mid-tone brown, and apply that really quickly back and forth in the crease. By using something medium mid-tone, you don't have to worry too much about overblending because it shouldn't be so noticeable that it requires overblending. And I wouldn't bother with putting any colour under the eye really as such. It can kind of make you look a little bit more tired than you are sometimes, especially if you do have shadows from not sleeping very well or from not sleeping in. One good tip if you do have very tired eyes is to use a blue eyeliner in on the waterline. White is something some people use because it helps open up the area. Blue in colour theory will actually brighten any white, so if you are a little bit bloodshot and a little bit wrecked and bleary eyed, popping blue in there. Some of the ones I like to use would be like this Gosh one, which is Ocean Mist, or this one by MAC. It's a smooth blue, it's a Technicolor, it's a little bit deeper, so it's good if you want kind of a little bit of definition as well as brightening. This one here, So They're Jade, is one that I quite like because it's a little bit more aqua, so if you're not so much of a blue fan you can go for the slightly more minty colours. And then this one is lovely, it's a super soft eye crayon by Barry M, so I'm just going to pop this quickly onto the waterline. And a lot of people would be scared about wearing that just in there, so it's nice to kind of balance out a bright colour like that, either by, I mean, if you want you could pop a little bit of the blue just over your lash line and smudge it out really quickly using a cotton bud or whatever you have at hand, but I think I'm going to go for a slightly darker colour. I'm going to go into the same palette again, so I'm not looking for a million different eyeshadows. Pick up a little bit of Hustle on an angle brush. This is just a cheap angle brush from the art store. and lightly apply it there just onto the outer half of my eyelid. I'm not really worrying too much about winging it out or anything, it's just to add a little bit of definition. You can just use your finger then to blend anything out. So once you have that little bit on, I would definitely leave the eyebrows unless you really felt like you had to fill them in, if they were quite gappy or if they are maybe very thin. Maybe run a little bit of an eyebrow pencil through them or a little bit of brow powder on an angled brush. But what I do is just get a clear mascara, which is just like this Collection 2000 one. It was really inexpensive in Boots, and brush the hairs in place. Just helps polish the look a tiny little bit. And then definitely I'd say the main thing for making yourself look really awake and bright-eyed would be to have loads of mascara. So I'm just going to pop plenty on the top and bottom lashes. Again, you could avoid the mascara on the bottom lashes if you have very dark circles that you're having trouble concealing, because it'll just draw attention to them. So once the eyes are done, I'd probably pop on a really quick bit of blusher. This is just a cute little pink one by MAC. It's called Giggly. I like pink because it's quite brightening. It does add a lot of life to the face. You could use something a little bit more neutral or natural if you wanted to, or even like a bronzer with a hint of a sheen to it. It's good for brightening the complexion. So if you do have acne prone skin or very bumpy skin, keep it matte so that it doesn't draw attention to that, especially in the daytime when everything is more noticeable. And then finish off quickly with a little bit of lip balm. I usually use something that's tinted, so something like this, which is the Cherry Kiss by Rose & Co. And then just pop a little bit onto my lips. So that's pretty much the makeup done. It just brightens up the complexion, evens out any skin tone, makes you look a bit more awake than you are, and takes away the tired early morning look. And that's pretty much all you want. You don't want it to be too overdone or too obvious. So I hope this was helpful. Good luck to everyone going back to school, and I'll talk to you all soon. So long, guys.